We want to ask you about Garett Bolles. I mean, there's a certain amount of saying, well, he's had stretches of good play, and he's had moments where you believe you're seeing what is a franchise left tackle. He's currently in one of those stretches. And I feel like we've had this conversation in the past when he hits those stretches. Should the Broncos consider putting a contract extension in front of Garett Bolles? Yes, do it now. No, not until the end of season. Or no, you're going to let him walk. And Garett Bolles is a lightning rod when it comes to the fan base. Mm-hmm. You bring up that name, and people are going to look at the history of Garett Bolles more so than the recent play. But then there's some people that say, well, no, I mean, look, if he turned it around, if he just needed some time to develop, the first time in his time here with the Broncos and as a professional to have the same offensive line coach in back-to-back years. And that offensive line coach happens to be Mike Munchak. So I'll ask you the poll question. Should the Broncos consider putting a contract extension from him either now or very soon? And then more so, is this a silly conversation or is this a real one we should have?
It's a real conversation. Yes, they should consider putting an extension in front of him. In fact, they are working one up, and they should do that. He's kind of grown into the player that they imagined at left tackle. Now, is he going to be an all-pro anytime soon? No. But is he solid at left tackle? Yes, he has been. Absolutely. I think he and Dalton Risner make up a pretty decent left side there. We've had some struggles at the center position. We've had some struggles at the right tackle position. Graham Glasgow having to cover down on both those has put him in a bad spot and made him look worse than he is. But I think the left side of that line is just pretty secure. I think you need to figure out the center thing. I think you need to figure out if Cush is the guy. Elijah, he got hurt, so we had Dotson in there. The Jets weren't really getting much pass rush going anyway, and it just kind of worked in Dotson's favor. But, we'll continue to see what Dotson can do. Having him play down there at sea level where his conditioning isn't as big an issue has certainly helped him out last game. I think you got to put a contract extension in front of Bolles. And, you don't throw I don't want to say lowball, but you throw a lower offer out there. You go, hey, look, we don't want this to be a one-year thing. We're going to put this out there, but we'll throw some incentives in here. You make a Pro Bowl, all of a sudden we'll give you a couple extra $1 million, that kind of thing. And so you build some incentives into the contract. You say, here you go, this is what we're prepared to offer. Stick with the team that groomed you. You don't want to go somewhere else and start all over.
I suddenly had a flash into the future moment where, you remember how upset fans were when the Broncos couldn't close out a deal on Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I can see a scenario where Broncos fans will be upset if the Broncos can't come to a contract extension with Garett Bolles. My, how things have changed. But right now, he's playing good. And he's playing better than that because really the offensive line as a whole has shown some pretty major inconsistencies. But he's locked it down there on the left side next to Dalton Risner. But that was the point, right? That was why you put Dalton on the left side. Remember last year, that was a conversation to be had. Well, should Dalton be playing on the right side? No. The Broncos were very adamant that he was going to be on the left side to help bring stability to Garett Bolles and to what they're going to be able to do. And it looks like that's paying off.
Yeah. Last year, it's funny how the plans change on all that kind of stuff because last year the plan was Dalton Risner at the left guard, then you could put Ron Leary and Elijah Wilkinson at kind of the right guard position and go from there. And with Juwan James being out, Wilk had to kick out the tackle, and you're running Leary more than you wanted to out of that guard spot, and it just it's funny how things change. It's funny how things grow and evolve. I was interested when I saw they were moving Risner over to that left side, but I really do believe they've got that side stabilized now. I think the question now is if the center and the right tackle position. Next year, Juwan James is because they're going to get the money out of him. Next year, Juwan James is going to be the guy at right tackle. But the center position, you've got to get that stabilized. You got to figure out if Cush is the guy or not. You got to figure out what's going on with that. And that really needs to be where the focus is. But as far as offering Garett a contract, the sooner you offer a guy a contract, the cheaper he is. Period. Point blank, end of discussion.
On the text line, Broncos fans being fickle? What? Yeah.
Wow, declare.
Back to Garett Bolles. You were saying that the Broncos are considering this as a potential option, or at least there's probably some discussion that's being had.
Been had. They're working it. So okay. That is the plan. As far as another young tackle, would they go back that direction? Sure, absolutely. They're going to keep looking in the future drafts and all that kind of stuff. And if Garett doesn't want to sign here, well, they could go to the draft and do that there. But I think this team is, I think they feel like they've got the left side solidified. I think they have a giant question mark at center. I think they like their right guard, but he's been struggling having to cover down on two guys that hadn't lived up to expectation, and that was Elijah and Cush. You got Dotson out there, and Dotson's okay. He's a little bit better pass protector than Elijah, but struggles in the run game. You really can't run a screen to his side. He's just not athletic enough, and, his conditioning's been a problem. So we'll see. We'll see if he can hold off and if Elijah can get all the way better and come back. And I would definitely put a contract in front of Bolles as quickly as possible. I think the Broncos waiting to pay some of these guys has cost them.